Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Harihi Om.
Om Harihi Om.
Brahmavadino vadanti.
Brahmavadino vadanti.
Kim karanam Brahma.
Kim karanam Brahma.
Kutasma jataha.
Kutasma jataha.
Jivamakena.
Jivamakena.
Vachasam pratishtha.
Vachasam pratishtha.
Adhisthitaha kena.
Adhisthitaha kena.
Sukhetareshu vartamahe.
Sukhetareshu vartamahe.
Brahmavido vyavastham.
Brahmavido vyavastham.
Kalasvabhavaha.
Kalasvabhavaha.
Niyatir-yadrichha.
Niyatir-yadrichha.
Bhutani yonihi.
Bhutani yonihi.
Purusha iti chintya.
Purusha iti chintya.
Sanyoga esham.
Samyoga esham.
Natvatma bhavat.
Natvatma bhavat.
Atmapi.
Atmati.
Anishaha.
Anishaha.
Sukha dukkha hetoho.
Sukha dukkha hetoh.
Yeah, this is very profound. Some profound questions being asked by meditators in the forest. Forest means there is no other description. They are wanderers in the forest, not just accidental wanderers, people who are in Vanaprastha. What is Vanaprastha? The third stage of life, where you remove to the forest because you're done with all the responsibilities of the householder life. So this is what is Vanaprastha. So these are sages that are there in the forest, and they are called Brahmavadinaha, means the speakers or the ones who talk about Brahman, but really they are not teachers of Brahman, they are still students. Yeah, and it shows, and they are Brahmavadinaha because they have done Shravanam. Shravanam means what? Hearing. And what have they heard? Teaching, not heavy metal music. Just checking. Yeah, they have heard the teachings from some guru in the past, or in the state of householdership. They have received the knowledge, but what has happened? Some gap is still there in the understanding. This is what it is. That is what is very evident in verse number 2, in the introduction to the verse number 2, because they are wondering what is the cause of this universe. We have heard that it is Brahman, and then yet let us just logically dismiss the other things that could be the cause. This is what they are saying. So one of the first things they dismiss, they talk about is Kalaha. Kalaha means what?
Time.
Time. Kala means time. Kali, the one who devours time. She is the one who is, Kala Bhairava is the masculine form of Kala, the one who devours time. Time itself is what? Toffee for whom? This is Kala Bhairava, And meaning the one who is in touch with the timeless nature is the one who is the Lord of time, who is himself, herself, timeless. Kala, Kali, it is called. They are called. Now this Kala, here there is the first thing that is discussed is this Brahman. Did it accidentally happen in time? It's a good question. This Brahman, what is this Brahman? Where, how? And this Vyavastha means this whole arrangement by which we keep shifting from Sukha ityadi. Sukha means happiness. Ityadi means the other one. Like I said, the Upanishad is shy until the next verse to say, until the next mantra to say dukkha. Because sukha means happiness, in happiness and other states. Because I think they also want to include the fear element. Because in addition to dukkha, there is fear, which is a definition of samsara, is being frightened all the time. And not eek frightened, like Halloween frightened, not that kind of frightened. Frightened also means afraid. The fear of opening up itself is samsara. Opening up to what? To anything that the world has to give me. Constantly feeling protective, defensive of oneself. This is itself samsara, and insecurity brings on the defensiveness, and the insecurity itself is known as samsara. This insecurity is samsara. And so this constant, fear, this is what is samsara. And so how come we are subject to that is the question. And then further pondering on this very profound question, another sage, or perhaps the same sage, asks, Kalaha. So what is the truth of this universe? Is it time? Is it that things just happen in time? Things just happen in time. Time is the master of everything, because you see, the body perishes in time, And then what? You keep using creams and potions and lotions. For what? To stave off the wrinkles. Then you open the bottle of what? Anti-wrinkle cream. I'm making this up, okay? I don't know. This is just for fun. So you open the bottle of the anti-wrinkle cream, and that has itself gone bad. It has wrinkles in it. So everything is subject to time. Everything. In fact, the word phala means phalgutaya liyate. That which is, that which rots is called the karma phala. So that which is subject to getting spoilt, and everything that you see here is subject to finiteness, finitude, it's subject to getting spoilt. You have to keep saving it from itself. Money is another example. Money is subject to inflation. Meaning what? Inflation is nothing but money has to be protected from itself. That is inflation. Money has to be protected from money. First you invest and everything, and then you have to protect money from itself. So everything is like this. So we see this whole manifest universe, this whole jagat, as a time-bound manifestation. Anything you touch is nashta. Anything drishta, seen, is nashta. Drishta nashta svabhava. Drishta is nashta. Drishta is nashta. Drishtam nashtam. Drishtam means anything that you lay your eyes on is as good as gone. Born, gone, samsara. What about is? In between born and gone, a little bit it is there, is. That's it. Born, gone, born, gone, born, gone, born, gone. Gone and born and gone. Is it there? Yes, but by the time you say Y-E-S, yes, it's gone. Oh, how? Like a thought. By the time, by the time you are, let's say you are going with a friend somewhere, and the friend says, are you thinking what I am thinking? That it's raining outside and it's very nice to go to the coffee shop and have some hot coffee. And she or he says yes. But by the time they say yes, that thought is gone, correct? Yeah. Now a new thought has come. Oh, you thought the same thing I did. And by the time you recognize that thought, another thought has come. Oh, but we missed the exit for the coffee shop. You have to go back. So this is called drishta nashta svabhava. So who is, and then we worship the Lord in the form of time. And we see there is a whole temple dedicated to Shiva in the form of time, where Kala Hasti, the time is in whose hands. And there you go and you worship Bhagavan in the form of time. And then you go to the Kali temple, Dakshineshwar Kali temple in East India, very famous temple. And there also what do you have? The goddess in the form of time, same thing. So Kala, Kali, same thing. And so perhaps time is the God. Time is the ultimate. And we should worship time. Time is Brahman. This is, musings of the learned. And we have spent quite a few sessions talking about what it takes to get to this place of this kind of musing, as opposed to talking about other things that are amusing. So when you find these kinds of things amusing, one has graduated from the first portion of the Veda and is qualified to be seen as a rishi. And so here, this whole thing is beautiful because Kalaha, the first question is this: is time the Lord? Is time Brahman? Then we find a very important understanding. This is exactly, and I had no idea I would be talking about this today, but this is exactly what I was teaching the child before the class. I said, do you know how long 1 hour is? The 4-year-old said, no, I don't know how long 1 hour is. Do you know how long 1 minute is? No, I don't know how long 1 minute is. Do you see the lollipop in your hand? Yes. I think that as the time that it will take for you to finish off this lollipop is 1 minute. And so imagine you're having 60 lollipops, not at once, one after another, that is 1 hour, correct? So what do we see in this? It's arbitrary. Time is so arbitrary. Because where is this hour? Where is this minute? Because everything is, infinitely split into things. So we have year, samvatsaraha. Like this, we have a cycle of 60 years that keep repeating themselves. And this year is called Nandana Nama Samvatsaraha. Nandana means is its name. Nandana means, ironically, that which brings joy. And then each year in the Hindu almanac, they have a certain explanation. And if you read the explanation in the Nandana Samvatsara, it says it is full of all kinds of horrible natural calamities that you can ever imagine, Sandy included. Yeah. That is what. Nandana means that which brings joy, but it's the most Anandana, means it's the most sorrowful on a global level. Still it is called Nandana because, in a way, like I said, the Shastras and the people who gave these names, they wanted it to have an auspicious aftermath. That is the beauty of the Hindu tradition, is that Vak, Tapas, we never say anything bad. Even the bad things are made into good, so that like even there is promise in recovering from the hurricane, in recovering from the storm. There is a strange kind of a promise that it will take us to a better place. Perhaps not even outside materially, but within, internally, that we become better people, that there is there is possibility for vairagya, there is possibility for viveka, there is possibility to become much more compassionate, seeing other people in need, even if we are not affected. So this is why perhaps it is called Nandana, because it is bringing the ultimate blessing of that joy to everyone by helping the heart grow. Perhaps that's why it's called Nandana. So anyhow, every year has how many days? 365 days, correct? And then those, and those days are divided into 12 months, 365 days, 12 months, and then there are 52 weeks, and then we don't have weeks, we have fortnights, pakshas, fortnights. The dark fortnight of the waning moon, Krishna Paksha, and the bright fortnight of the waxing moon, Shukla Paksha. These fortnights are there. Then the fortnights are further, compressed into tithis, days, dates, Trayodashi, the third day, Chaturdashi, the fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, etc. And then those days are further divided in the Hindu calendar according to Karanas. There are 2 Karanas for, and first before the days we have Nakshatra, the stars that govern 2.5 days at once, and then the 2.5 days are reduced to 1 day, Tithi, and then Tithi is reduced to Karana. Karana is reduced, Karana means there are 2 kinds of presiding influences in the course of 1 day. And there are 32 kinds of Karanas, each one comes with a a little prophecy, and you have to look at all that for marriages, etc. So if you get married in the wrong karana, then you'll be arguing with the spouse all the time. There are 2 or 3 very, fighting karanas are there. You have to avoid that. And then those very karanas are very important for some other things. Like if you are going for some legal kind of a thing, you want those because you want the ability to be able to argue. Very, very interesting. So then the karanas further, are divided into yogas. Amrita yoga, Siddha yoga, Marana yoga. Marana yoga means don't even touch anything. Just Marana yoga means the yoga of death. So what do you do at that time? Nothing. Just keep quiet. Don't stir out of the house. Don't start anything new. This is all. And the yogas are further divided into these Rahu Kalas. Rahu Kala. Rahu Kala means the time when the shadow planet Rahu was born. Not a good time. Because Rahu, not a good fellow, brings out the shadow side of everything, including the unconscious. So that is another problem. And then we have Yamaganda, another thing. Another Kala is there, further divided. Yama again is, danger and death. So that is avoided. And then, and then in between all this, there is a small, maybe 3 seconds are okay in the whole day. If one is lucky. That's why it's important not to go too deeply into all this. I'm just telling you because we are discussing time. And then the time again, even 1 second, now we are coming back to the Western way of looking at time. 1 second is again divided into what? Nanosecond, picosecond, millisecond, and so many other names are there. These are the only 3 I know. It is divided into 1,000 parts, and each part has a name, and that is further divided. And ultimately, when you say what is the truth of this nano, pico, millisecond, what is the truth of that? If it comes and goes, who is the one that is noticing it coming and going? Who is the namer of this picosecond? You have to say me. Maybe not me personally, but the person, the conscious being, the intelligent conscious being endowed with a body, mind, sense complex is the witness of this Kala passing by. And that which passes by is called Kala because it keeps ticking, 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 ticking. It's always ticking, never stops ticking. Time never stops. And who says time never stops is the one who never moves. The one that, we have the contrast, a very interesting parody. One that is always moving, time, and the one that is never moving. The one who is conscious of time. Time is evident to me, the conscious being, aham, I. So that means what? Who is bigger than time? Me, that Brahman, which is revealed as the truth of I, Atma alone, that Ishvara alone is bigger than time. And that Ishvara is revealed in the Upanishad, in all the Upanishad as I, as the truth of this I, because it is immediately you can experience this when you say how much time has gone by, immediately you have a sense of time. Sakshi Pratyaksha, you are the witness of time. You say, I think 15 minutes have gone by and still this person hasn't come. You don't have a watch. How do you know 15 minutes have gone by? Because you are the witness of time. You are the Lord of time, really speaking. What is the difference between you and Kali? No difference. What is the difference between you and Mother Kali or Father Kala? No difference. It's one and the same. And this is something that has to be discovered and understood deeply. Assimilated. And even though these sages, like the sages sitting at the foot of the Lord here, Lord Dakshinamurti, like the sages, they had listened to the teaching, they had not yet assimilated it. Which is why a little more nididhyasanam means contemplation, was required. And here when we study verses number 1 and 2, we are looking into the minds of the sages doing contemplation, which is very, very beautiful. So the first thought is what? Perhaps time, because everything is just, we are in the grip of time. Perhaps time is the ultimate. No. what about the one who notices time? Oh, but me, I am also time bound. Oh, there goes that argument. Really? Are you time bound? Yes, because everything is sagging. That shows I am time bound. Now here, now not. I am time bound. What is sagging? The body is sagging. What about the mind? Don't ask about the mind. When we talk about the mind, it's better to say never mind. And the mind is gone already. And so who is the one who is the witness of the mind going? Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Who is the witness of the sagging body? Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Who is the witness of the failing senses? I can't smell, I can't see, I can't hear. What? I can't hear. What? Who is the witness of all this? The one who is, beyond the senses, beyond the mind, the one who transcends everything, but the one who is available as aham, I. That witness consciousness is not subject to time. And so therefore what? You cannot say that time alone is the truth of everything. That is just a spoof to keep us in place. The truth of time is really timeless, because the truth of time is you. That's really what it is. Because time is so arbitrary. This whole 9 to 5 was unheard of before the Industrial Revolution. 9 to 5, this weekends, nobody had. This weekend is so powerful. This is the work day and weekend. Everything has to happen in the weekend. The festival will come on Wednesday because it's according to the lunar calendar. When do we celebrate it? Either the Sunday before or the Saturday after. Even the temples have started to do that. Because nobody is available. We have been just become the servants of the global capital and this whole industrial revolution. We have become servants to that concept of time. Because before, people used to work at home. Whenever they felt like. So the person who had sheep would shear the sheep and take all the raw wool, the fur of the sheep to one house. And there they would card and comb this wool. Whenever they felt like, the whole family would do it. Babies would be playing right there. And then next week the person would come and take it to somebody else's house who would spin it into yarn. Then the yarn would be delivered to somebody else's house who would make it into sweaters or clothes or whatever it is, fabric. Then it would be again sold. Like this, people just worked whenever they felt like. When they were tired, they slept. When they had earned enough, they would stop working. Because it was all piece rate, how much they made. And then along came this invention, in the late 1700, 1800 it came. It was called ginny. What ginny? Cotton ginny. It was called ginny, the cotton gin. The electric carding and combing machine, which did that to wool and cotton, everything. Now it was so expensive to produce that everybody could not have it at home. So it had to be kept in a shed and everybody had to come there. And in order to have this industrial discipline of everybody coming at the same time, the shed was known as the workplace, and then people had to go there and then do whatever work was needed with it right there and then come back. That's how all this 9 to 5 started. And we are still in the grip of it. Before that, it was some other concept of time. And our ancestors had yet another concept of time. The sundial. Everything was done with the cycles of the sun, the cycles of the season. In winter, they would sleep more. In summer, they would be more active. This is how it was. But now, even the summer and winter are manipulated because we can save the daylight. We can do all kinds of things. Again, this daylight time, which is going to change when? This weekend?
Sunday morning.
Yeah, Sunday it is going to change. And so that is another arbitrary thing. So we know how arbitrary time is. Time cannot be, time is Brahman because everything is Brahman. Brahman is not just time. Yeah. Brahman is that which is the truth of time. Then the second question they come upon is Swabhavaha, means this whole manifestation, the cause of the manifestation. Okay, maybe it is not time, maybe what? Swabhavaha. Swabhavaha means just nature. Here it means Prakriti. Prakriti. Niyati. Both have to be taken together. Swabhavaha, Prakriti, Niyati. Swabhavaha, Niyati. And then what? These two have to be taken together. And Yadrichha. All three you can take together. Swabhavaha, Niyati, Yadrichha. Swabhavaha means Prakriti. Prakriti means what? Nature. And what is nature here? Nature means it is the nature of trees to shed the leaves. You can take it like that. Or you can say it is niyati, means the law. It is the botanical law of the trees to shed the leaves before the winter. Yeah. Yadrichha means by chance. And this is something which a lot of people who are atheists, means they don't have an understanding of Bhagavan, or they say they don't believe, and what they do believe or not believe, it's still a concept. Really. If you say I don't believe in God, you don't believe in your concept of God, really. And even the person who says I believe in God believes in their concept of what God is. That's why we don't have this belief-disbelief problem at all. We say all that is here is Bhagavan. It is not a matter for belief, it's a matter for understanding. It's not a matter for belief. What is there to believe? So, because it's not verifiable. Here, the understanding is verifiable because that understanding is shown as the truth of me. That Bhagavan includes me. And so here, Kalaha, we have dismissed that. Swabhavaha, Niyati, Yadrichha. Yadrichha means just by chance, all these molecules intelligently somehow assembled themselves into various forms. Fishes in the sea, reptiles crawling around, and then birds, mammals, and bacteria, they just assembled themselves. And even within one organism, the molecules assembled themselves into certain cells, kidneys, and all these things. Because how otherwise you explain? I mean, this is a lot of people, this is like a favorite philosophy of the so-called atheists. Because they don't want to say that there is a conscious entity who is in charge of all this. And the reason they don't want to say that is because this kind of a belief was stuffed in their faces when they were growing up. This is the only reason they don't want to say that, because that they have found illogical and alienating. Because yes, you have to believe in God. God made this. Who made God? Don't ask questions. You better listen. You better do this. This is the whole reason why people are really atheists to speak about. And in fact, there is a very good book written by Bertrand Russell. Why I like Christ but not churchianity. He says that. He doesn't call it Christianity. Very nice, set of arguments. Small booklet is there. I don't know if that was the whole book, but that was what I read. Very nice, a long time ago. Why I have no problems with Christ, but I have a lot of problems with churchianity. So this whole pressure to have this organized religion being sort of, crammed through people's throats, puts them off of God for lifetimes. That could be one possibility. The other possibility that people have issue with even listening to anything where the Ishvara is talked about is authority issues. And what is that authority issue? Father issue, mother issue. So then, there are unresolved father-mother issues to, kind of get put on poor Ishvara, So God the Father becomes Godfather, and I don't want to have anything to do with this kind of a authority issue. So people get God rash, Ishvara rash. As soon as you say Ishvara, they start to get hives. They start to scratch around. And so therefore what? So therefore the explanation of such people is that things happen by chance. Things, it is nature, it is chance. You give it various names because you don't want to say the word God, because there is so much distaste and allergy and it is full of illogical things. So you try to work around that concept because it makes no sense to you how it was taught to you when you were small. So therefore, what will you say? You will say this is how it is. And sometimes people say universe. In the universe, and they use the word universe for karma, they use the word universe for God, they use the word universe for everything. You see that sometimes it's the way of talking. Oh, it's just the universe. The universe has a strange way of justice. What's wrong with saying this is the law of karma, which is the manifestation of Ishvara? No. This is the universe. So how come? And then you ask these people, so how come Sandy, who is Sandy? Everybody knows who is Sandy, yes. How come Sandy struck over there and not over here? And the pastors... Huh? Yeah, Swabhava Niyati Yadricha. That is what they will say. They will say, it is, the pastors will say it is God's will. And somebody said, another pastor said, it's because there are all these non-believers in the East Coast. Yeah, I read it in one of the papers. It said there's all these atheists and God is angry God. First God is loving God, and then unless God is loving only until you listen to Him, capital H, and then once you stop listening to Him, listening means you have to obey, you have to believe, and then if you stop obeying and stop believing, then they will unleash these kinds of hurricanes, Bhagavan has. And this Bhagavan has unleashed the hurricane because there are atheists. This is, so somebody's, yeah. And you can change that. You can change atheists into, there are too many women, there are too many, people who are, what is that? Living together and not married. You can make so many things, This is what it will be. And then, so therefore what? But what we say is that it is not, whatever explanation we give in the Hindu tradition, in the Upanishads, is that it is never outside of you. Because it's not some guy in the sky who's directing all these things to happen, randomly. And then you ask why it hit there and not here. Well, we don't know. It just happens. That's the way of the universe. And at the most, maybe you're ecologically minded, you will say the Arctic ice is melting and it's coming from the Atlantic, the flows are going down. And then Al Gore would say this, that all this is happening. And that's why this is what is called global change. No, climate change. Global warming. Yeah, I mixed the two.
Swabhava.
Yeah. This is the explanation the lay people will give, you see. But here the sages are penetrating deeper into this explanation because this explanation does not satisfy. Okay, climate change. Okay, global warming. But why global warming in this particular way, at this particular time, in this particular region? You have to shrug your shoulders. I don't know. Swabhav, Niyati, Yadricha, accident. It is some kind of an accident. Kala. You can this is what is called the samsara talk. This is the samsara talk. This is the samsari talk, not rishi talk. But the rishis are having samsari talk. Why? Because they are dismissing the samsari talk. That's why they are bringing it up one last time and saying that cannot be it. Neti, this is not it. This is not it. This is not it. Because we have to go deeper. We have to go deeper. We have to go deeper. Because the explanation that there is some angry God is as unsatisfying as that the climate has changed. Okay, climate has changed, but how? But why? But why in this particular area at this particular time? We don't know. So we have to go deeper in that. And then finally, equally non-alluring is the explanation that things happen by chance. That the kidneys, the stomach, the kidneys, the pancreas, just manifested on their own. The cells were roaming around, and the cells and the molecules were having a conversation. And one molecule said to another molecule, let's become a kidney. And the other molecule said, absolutely, let's do that. And they founded a support group of kidney molecules. And then one of them said, I am going to go rogue. And that became the diabetic molecule in the same kidney, the insulin resistant molecule. And then the kidneys were formed. Same thing with pancreas, same thing with stomach, same thing with all the organs. How is this possible? How can randomly, just much less is this, forget kidneys and everything. Look at even something like this house. It has 4 walls, it is a room. This also did not come by chance. Somebody said, I wish there was a house here, and the next day it just sprung up, boing. No, it didn't spring up. It had to be measured, the land had to be measured more than once, and then intelligently designed, thought of how the walls should be, and there is a code, how thick the wall should be. It's called the R factor, how thick it should be, minimum, to keep all the weather outside, and how many stories the house should have. Or maybe everything should be on 1 story. And if there are stories, then you cannot say, forgot to put the staircase. I wish I could take you upstairs, but there is no staircase. It has to be intelligently, and you cannot design the staircase after you build the house. It has to be built into the plan. First you have to have a blueprint, and then the blueprint has to be actualized. The blueprint is the intelligence, and the actualization of this requires the raw material. You need sticks, you need stones, you need some bone breaking work to assemble these sticks and stones together. You need what is that called, that big machine, that mortar mixer. Yeah. So the mortar it makes, and then it mixes the thing, and then you need all these hammers and all these noisy things. That you need all these things, and you need one architect, and then one architect's vision is just made into so many helpers, so many people, the mason, the person who puts in the window, the person who's in charge of the air and the electricity and everything. Then you have even just one room to build. It doesn't happen by chance. So what to talk about the entire universe happening yadricha? How is that possible? How is that even possible that the whole universe, which complex as it is, at least the room is predictable, it has 4 walls, ceiling and floor. But here look at all the species. There are so many various kinds of species, and new species are coming every day. And the species are not just that they are out there and then after that that's it. You can't just have the species out there. There is an inbuilt intelligence as to how these species take care of themselves. It's just amazing to see how these species take care of themselves. The mother snake lays 8 to 10 eggs. And then what does she do? She eats, if she lays 8, she eats 6. Yeah. She eats 3/4 of what she lays. Because she's tired. Laying eggs is not easy. So she's tired after that. And she just says, okay, I'm going to have a nice omelette. And she finishes off, 5-6 eggs. And then what? 2 of them come out. They are hatched. 2 baby snakes come out. Imagine if all 8, if her maternal instincts given to the snake were such that all 8 came out. Then where would we all go? Yeah, because they would be all over the place. They would overtake this universe. So in each species is built in the modes of its own destruction. It's built into the species. Think about that intelligence. And starting with those things, what are they called? The dinosaurs. Starting with the dinosaurs. And now they are finding so much in the fossils and the intelligence. They are finding how they used to be all over the place, and then they became less and less and less available. to move around. They became more and more impaired. And this was setting the stage for other species to come. Very beautiful. And this, in this intelligence, even within one species, there is so much complexity. So much complexity. And no two persons are alike. Even in one person, no two things are alike. The whole thing is just a magnificent manifestation. It did not happen by chance. There is no way it could happen by chance. Chance cannot assemble this universe to have the intelligent laws that prevail, which are part and parcel of the universe. It cannot. How can it happen by chance? The universe is not alphabet soup. Alphabet soup? Yeah. Yeah. Those who have been around children, they know. So they will have alphabet soup, and in the pasta they will have all these, shapes. A, B, C, D. So how can, even in a bowl of that soup, when you put the alphabets in, how can they spell the word universe accidentally? They will not. What is the chance? 1 in 10 million. What is the chance that they will spell nature? They won't. They cannot. So this accidentally, they cannot assemble themselves, and we see that there is no author for the kidneys. The mother gives birth to the child, all right. And you go ask your mother, did you make kidney? Did you make the kidneys? What will your mother say? No, I only know how to make kidney beans. I don't know how to make kidneys. That's what she's going to say. She said, I just gave birth to you. I don't know how to make kidneys. Did you know how to make lungs? No. Do you know how to make liver? No. This is the thing. So obviously it's not chance, it is not swabhava, it is not kala, it is not yadricha, it is not some kind of laws given by some angry god sitting somewhere all the time angry, frowning and sending, vajra, lightning, thunder and lightning. It is not that. And these sages, one by one, they go through this list and say, no, not possible. Not random. This universe is not a random bunch of molecules floating around in the universe. And then have we discussed everything else? Kalaha, swabhavaha. Yeah. Sanyogaha. Sanyogaha means the combination of all of these above. Combination of kala, time, Sanyoga, what is that? Swabhava, Niyati, Yadricha. So none of these, nor a combination of these, he says, Atma Bhavat cannot bear examination. Yeah. Cannot bear examination. Why? Because we are forgetting two important things. We are forgetting Yonihi, the source of all this, and we are forgetting the Purushaha, which is the intelligence. We are forgetting that the raw material and the intelligence work together. So therefore, this Kala, Niyati, Swabhava, Yadricha or Sanyoga, a combination of all of these, cannot bear any kind of examination. They wither away in the enquiry because this is not a random universe. And even the Christians have started to talk about intelligent design, correct? Mm-hmm. What do they mean by that? I don't know. I don't know if they mean the same thing, but so the intelligent design means that there is some thinking behind the manifestation. And we don't even stop at the thinking. We take this quote unquote thinking further to imply that there is an infallible intelligence. So the whole manifestation is infallible. That which is infallible is the manifester. That is what we call Ishvara. So then this Yonihi, what is the source of all this? This is what the sages are asking. What is the source? And then Purushaha iti chintya, this is the chinta, this is the contemplation. What is the intelligence? What is the source? What is the raw material? Where did this all come from? Is this a random universe with a bunch of things just thrown in because God doesn't have cable TV and, God wants a reality show. We are the cable TV for Bhagavan. No, this is not what it is. We are forgetting all this. And the sages say this cannot be it. And then why? Because we say that due to, the individual also here is a big factor in this. The sages say, Atma Bhavat, Atma Bhavat means what? Natu Esham Atma Bhavat. Atma Bhava means somehow the individual, meaning the sages who are looking at this, they say that the individual is caught up in this manifestation. That is also we have to see how and why the individual is caught up in this whole manifestation. Atma Bhavat and what? Anishaha. Anishaha means overlorded. The individual here means the jiva. Jiva, who is the jiva? The one who doesn't have self-knowledge is jiva. That is what is called individual. One who has self-knowledge, who is identified with the Atma as Ishvara, is no longer jiva. Jiva means the individual, the individual who has separated itself due to self-ignorance is called jiva. So then here we are talking of the jivas. What is first part of this whole musing is the truth of the universe cannot be random, cannot be by chance, cannot be because of kala, svabhava, niyati, all the things we talked of. And also the individual here, the one who identifies with all the happenings in the universe, is also not accidental. The separation of the individual from the whole is not accidental, it is part of this whole manifestation. And if the separation is not accidental, and if the separation is not real, ultimately, the non-separation, the revelation of the non-separation is also not accidental. The possibility exists for the separation because of self-ignorance, and the possibility to correct that self-ignorance also exists. And before that, what happens? The individual is Anishaha, considers himself, herself, Anishaha. Anishaha means overlorded. Overlorded by what? By somebody. Here by Sukha Dukkha Hetoho, by happiness and misery. The individual is overlorded by one's own moods. Yeah, one's own moods. And this is what happens, sometimes people say, I'm upset, I'm cranky, I'm sad, I'm moody, I'm not having a good day. What does the day have to do with it? It's no, it's not the day, it's me. And so what does that mean? That I'm not even in charge of my mental states. My mental states themselves seem like a huge burden that has suddenly been put upon. And so what is the intelligence behind this verse is this, that if the whole manifestation is not accidental, neither are my own subject, that I as a jiva am subject to happiness and sorrow. Can that be accidental? No, there is a law here as well. Because if the whole manifestation cannot be niyati, kala, swabhava, yadricha, so my own, whatever I am going through individually, when the collective manifestation is not random and by chance, then the individual manifestation is also not random and by chance. There is something that is overriding, an overriding intelligence that is governing everything from the physical and the mental and the emotional states of this body. And this governance is what is the nature of this governance? Am I a victim subject to this governance? Am I just a victim? Or have I some agency here? Can I overpower this governance? Or can I at least go deep into the nature of this governance and see what is this, who is the governor, who is this governance? Can I unlock the secret of the law of this governance, including my own mood, forget the collective hurricane Sandy, this individual state, the hurricane within, can I unlock the secret of what causes me to undergo these moods, these swinging moods? And then the next question is, how do I go about doing that? How do I go about doing that? Because if I accept that the collective manifestation is not random, then, Yadyatha iha tat tatha amutra, as it is collective, so too the individual, the same set of laws have to operate. And if I've dismissed the fact that the world is not alphabet soup, so too with the soupy moods that I am in, that also cannot be accidental. How can it be accidental? There must be that same law that governs the outside, also governs within this individual body, mind, sense complex. What is the source? Yonihi. What is the Purusha? What is the intelligence behind this? Is it A, separate from me? Is it B, non-separate from me? If it is A, that means we are into the realm of all other theologies. This is the Advaita, separation theology. Meaning that there is somebody out there that is causing you to do certain things. And then what? So who am I? Nobody. Everything, this God is the one who is directing everything, and everything is happening, and you are separate from that God. You will meet that God. You will have chai with that God. When? Afterlife. Yeah, you will have a cup of tea with God. This is called afterlife, and you will go somewhere to heaven. And that heaven is eternal. Where is it? Somewhere far away from you. How can it be eternal if it is away from me? Eternal means limitless, timeless. That, which is beyond everything. How, if it is beyond everything, it cannot be outside of it. And eternal means unchanging. Hell also cannot be eternal. If hell is eternal, unchanging, then you cannot keep burning, correct? Who is burning first of all? You've left the body behind, correct? Mm-hmm. And so what is it that is subject to the fire? We don't know. So we have to take all this metaphorically, because this is something which is going along with the human reason. It's not outside of reason. Up to a point you have to follow the reason. And the reasoning tells us a basic truth that which is limitless cannot be outside of me. Because if it's outside of me, it's no longer limitless. It is limited. I am limiting it. It is delimiting me. I am delimiting it. How can it be limitless? It is just not possible. Not reasonably possible. Logically impossible. So, if there is something called limitless, it has to include me, number one. Number two, if there is something called limitless, it has to be uncreated. You cannot have a created limitlessness. If you have a created limitlessness, what will happen? That which is created is subject to
Kala.
Yes. Kala. Because in time it was created. In time it's going to collapse, relapse, lapse, whatever it is. So that which is created, you put together, is subject to falling apart. This is logic. And we have to use the logic to say this, to see the truth of this, that if there is a governance happening, that governance, that truth, and myself, the one who is subject to the governance and the one that is the cause which is the governance, cannot be two separate entities. If they are two separate entities, it just is not logically tenable. This is untenable. And if they are one and the same entity, it is something to be discovered. It is something to be understood. It is something to be looked deep into. It is something to be enjoyed, discovering the apparent, the underlying unity, the underlying oneness, hidden by the apparent differences. That is the fun. Because if everything was obvious, you are the whole. If everybody has that obviously, there is no fun. Boring, You are never the whole. That is also boring. Then what's the point? You will never be Bhagavan. Okay, fine. Not that one is trying to be Bhagavan. This is what happens so many times. Sometimes they will say, you are not. One time, Swamiji always tells this story. He was going in an airport and some dualist theology person, even within the Hindu tradition we have, people who say you and Bhagavan are never the same, you will never be one and the same. You are all different, there are two different entities. So this person approached Swamiji and said, you are not Bhagavan. And Swamiji said, that is correct, because if I was Bhagavan, I would not be catching the flight. I would not be sitting in the airport lounge trying to wait for the flight if I was Bhagavan. You can't take it literally. You have to see the truth of it. Yeah. Bhagavan means what? Bhagavan moves around as you. If you were Bhagavan, you would be all pervasive. You would be all over the place. You would not need to catch a flight. But the fun is you are in this body-mind. This Bhagavan with the body-mind sense complex can have fun. Can reach around, learn around and move around, romp around. There is a lot of fun. There is a lot of possibilities for this. And so therefore, this is not the point. We have to look. It's not about it. That's why I keep saying apparent differences, underlying unity, oneness. And the oneness doesn't mean everything, sameness. It doesn't have to be one and the same. It can look different. But once I have understood the difference, I don't have to, try to make it one and the same. If I have understood that this is clay and this is clay, I can enjoy them. Big pot, small pot, crack pot, I can enjoy all of them. I don't have to take a mortar and a pestle and go like this, make them all into one. That's not the point. I get to the place where I enjoy Kala, where I enjoy Niyati, where I enjoy Yadricha. I enjoy all of them because I see it unfolding as that sourceless source of intelligence, which is non-separate from the one who is conscious of this unfoldment, which is myself alone. Very beautiful, very, very profound. And so that is the second verse of this Upanishad. Very, very nice. And we will see a little more of that next week. Let us chant verse number 3. Te dhyana yoganugata pashyan. Te dhyana yoganugata apashyan. Devatma shaktim swagunair nigudham. Devatma shaktim swagunair nigudham. Yah karanani nikhilani tani. Yah karanani nikhilani tani. Kalatma yuktanyadhishtrite kaha. Kalatma yuktanyadhitishtatye kaha. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. This is very beautiful.
Very beautiful.
It is getting to be very, very nice. And, it requires something to understand. And I'm glad that all of you are seeing the beauty of it. You have to leave? Now we have Viveka Chudamani.